Okay. Hello everyone. I don't actually have, I guess, that much of an immediate plan on what to do, but we have a lot of science here from our biome hopping mission last time I streamed, and a whole lot of stuff to spend it on. And so, you know what? Here's what we'll do. First thing we'll do is we're gonna look up the nearest the nearest transfer window to some other body. So parent sun origin Kerbin to Moho is in 53 days. Kerbin to Eve is in 1 year, 41 days. Kerbin to Duna is 138 days. Kerbin to Drez, Jewel, Elu. Okay, so I guess we could do something to Moho if we can get decent enough parts for it. But how do you... Yeah, but for now we'll just take a look here. So I think one of the primary things to do is going to be grabbing more stuff to allow us to get more science. So this is somewhat tempting. A 2 Kerbal pod is very tempting. Also, we get RCS, perhaps, or maybe actual landing gear. I think we'll go with this first. And landing, and I mean, really everything besides aerodynamics are... Ooh. Actually, no, we do want these because we get the vertical speed control modules for and the altitude control modules for throttle controlled avionics, which are quite important for stuff we want to do. There. Now, and the 2 orbit autopilot is something we definitely want, and all this stuff isn't particularly stuff I'm interested in yet. For now, ooh, RCS tanks and the Jumbo 64, sure. Ooh, docking port and various structural things. Yes, yes. Robotics parts. Nothing here I'm particularly interested in. Sure, grab that landing strut. I'm beginning to think I maybe shouldn't have done the Minmus biome hopping, because this gave me a whole lot of science, and I'm not quite sure how the old Mark 1-3, okay, it's not old, it's been updated, but the old 2.5 meter command pod is the staple of KSP. Now, ooh, and a resource mapper. Okay, that's gonna come in handy. I mean, really, we're just running down this, unlocking everything. So, yeah, sure. Stuff is Look, we can already unlock the nuclear thermal rocket. Question. Should I just dump the rest of this science? Because I feel a bit bad about just blazing through the tech tree this fast. Like, really? Sure, I'll grab that stuff, and I can unlock ISRU stuff. Really? Well, I guess mission to Moho is probably something we could do. Sure, yeah, let's go to Moho. Yeah, let's go to Moho, unlock a few more of this sort of thing. Okay. Cool. So, with our new wide array of parts, let's figure out a Moho mission. Let's go with Octo. Now, we're gonna want to... Okay, well, first of all, we just need to have the basic probe bus, I'd say. Yeah, so... grab batteries. Don't actually need particularly much, because Moho is quite close to the sun, to Kerbal. Let's go with this. Then there. Okay. Now actually, yeah. Okay. Now, does that clip? Yes, it clips. Let's move these farther out a bit. Like that. Then back to solar panel. And then we want comms wise, I mean, Moho doesn't actually get particularly far, so this will be more than enough, I think. Okay, now get to the science part. And really we have to think this bit through, because this is probably going to end up being the core of all the different science probes we send. So gotta think this through. Now, Moho does actually require quite a lot of delta V, I think, so we'll see what we end up having to put on this. I believe last few times I did this, I just slapped a nuclear engine on, a Nerva on, and give it way too much delta V, because I also remember the plane change is particularly brutal often. So yeah, we want, and really I'd say we want some service bays actually for this. We don't need the one, the propellants in that, so probably not that, but science-wise, we'd definitely want. Let's whip up a lander too. Hopefully we can get. And ooh, yes, actually, we definitely want a relay type antenna on this thing. Now, this is gonna shadow the solar panels a fair bit. So what we can do is actually go for a 2x symmetry thing and do something more like this. Do something more like this, so that we can have all of them in the sun without the antenna shadowing them. And this, so we don't get clipping and so we don't get clipping and the panels rotate freely. Now we don't actually need them to rotate freely because they just clip through things, but I want to keep a semblance of it being actually what's the power of that? 15G. This, oops, quite badly actually. Also, we don't want the fairing to be too big. That's not ideal. Aha! Stick that here. Cool. But actually, let's do this. Yeah, let's do that. Okay. So then we can stick this right here. Okay. Will this open correctly? Still clips, but we can move that. There we go. And just stick a cubic octagonal strut here so it doesn't look too bad. Set it in a bit. A weird thing about aesthetics. Anyway, that's that. So we are going to have a fun little thing of, it's not going to be too big for the fairing. Anyway, science to be put in here, and actually outside there. So, how many good units do we want? I'd say we grab a goo from interplanetary space, then we have one high, one low, so that's 3 goos. But like so, actually. Go, doesn't clip. Nice. Set them up a little bit. Okay. Then in the science box we need Moho doesn't have an atmosphere, so I'm not gonna bring that. It's scanning arm. It's gonna go on the lander. Want one of these. We want to put the SAR-X antenna on here. That has an optimum. We want 250 to 500 kilometers, which means that this 200 and 400 is what we want, and 500. Okay. Want this resource mapper. Oh, speaking of which, we need to resource map the Mun and Minmus. That's another thing to do. We'll do that in the meantime while we wait for the transfer window. Send them up, and we don't want to have to put you guys through the boringness of SCANSat, so we'll just put them up and just leave them as we go to Minmus. Now, seismic accelerometer will go on the lander. Magnetometer boom. Put here. Put barometer. I already put. I think. This gives altimetry high res, and this gives altimetry low res. Do you need altimetry? Nah, just not bring this. Okay, so let's stuff these things in. Just put this here and put this. Fireworks going off. It's not the 4th of July just yet. That you need to wait a few more hours, guys. Hopefully it's not being caught on the stream. That looks decent. this we need to set in cute. So actually I think we'll swap there we go. Just give this the bear treatment. Other things we put in. Higher res resource. That. Oh no, we might try this at some point. But I think that's all the stuff I wanted to put this in, and then we will have to lower our orbit in order to achieve it, but it's fine. Here and then. Around a bit to make it clip a little bit less. You. That is that clipping there. How far back does that open? Just shove it in. I mean, it's all gonna be in the fairing anyway, so it doesn't matter too much how much of this is actually yeah, really we should just stick a structural beam through the middle and have these outside of the bay. Why did I even put them in the bay? They don't need to be in a bay. They'll be in a fairing. That this one. There. We'll put some struts up and down so it doesn't. Okay. Oops. Oh. Oh. There. Boom. Then we'll set this off to the side a bit. This that way a bit. We're gonna be well within the radius of the fairing. This can go like what? So these peoples. It's not 4th of July yet. Anyway. So let's kind of pop these. Here. There we go. Science. Weird clipping. Yes. There we go. True probe. No regard for aerodynamics. So now we need to stand. Yeah, we want a lot of delta V for this. How much delta V do we actually need? Pull up the delta V map. Moho. We need from orbit. We need 50 for Kerbal escape plus 760 for plus 760 for transfer, plus a possible of 2.5 kilometers per second. 2.5 kilometers per second for the plane change. Jesus. Plus 2,400 plus another 2.5 kilometers per second for capture. Nearly 7,000 kilometers per second from Kerbal orbit. We get to an orbit of Moho, in the worst case. In the best case, we drop 2.5 kilometers per second off of that, but I am unsure how good of a transfer window the next transfer window actually is. If we are in the plane, well, if we're at the near the ascending or descending node of Moho, it's going to be a fair bit less of a plane change maneuver, but if we're not, then let's actually see how close we are. Where we're going to be in 50 or whatever days it's going to be for the thing. Anyway, then we need another 2,400 ascents to Kerbal orbit. So 10,000, so 10 kilometers per second is our goal. Let's see, let's actually set the alarm. And Kerbal to Moho, add alarm. 53 days. Okay. You just SCANSat. Mark. I'll say 3 because this is the 3rd iteration of SCANSat, I think. Yeah. Okay. Now look at tracking center, see where see the relative positions of Kerbal and Moho. So, Moho is, yep, that is a quite inclined orbit, and we are actually fairly near the descending node. This might, although in 50 days, we might be here, which is still... Actually, where is the descending node? Target Moho. What is actually the descending? Yeah, we are pretty much at the descending node, so we're gonna have to do a fair bit of plane change. Now let's just design it for the full 10 kilometers per second, just in case. Anyway, so that means we're gonna want a pretty hefty probe. So this is the... Oh, actually, no, we want some reaction wheel torque, so let's stuff this on the front. There we go. Okay. So we're gonna want a pretty hefty probe. So probably something like this fuel tank, which means to synthetic aperture radar up a bit. Possibly out and up a bit. And stick in a cube of Arcanal strut. It's looking like we actually attach this to something. I don't like things looking like they're floating. Anyway, then let's say four-way strut vectors. Like that. Strut connect like so. There. Okay. Then engines do we have that give us a lot? To do this. 340 specific amounts of 345, 350. Probably gonna end up using up Google. I thrust to weight ratio. Now, I guess we are gonna stick this entire thing in a fairing, so it's not too big. Yes. There we go. That's our lots of delta V we need. Nearly enough to do the entire transfer. I'm gonna probably actually end up swapping. Yeah, this is gonna be a hefty probe. And have lots of delta V around Moho if this is actually Okay. So gives us 4.6 kilometers per second. So let's move this up. And put this entire thing in the fairing. With the shroud though, it never stays off. Fairing. Nope. Well, this actually fits within 5 meters, so we're just gonna do something. This now, essentially, it's an issue. It's snapping. I don't want it to snap. I want it to just stay upright. There. On. Why is it wait no go? How much does the swings? 175 kilograms. How much does slapping this on? That's into our V budget. 4.6 versus 5. We really don't need that wide of a fairing. No. Start. There, okay. I think that's good. Now we just need a launch vehicle to yeet this up into orbit and have a total delta V of around 10 kilometers per second. Can be done. Let's see. Let's skip her back there. Let's see what that gives us. Ideally, we want a bit higher thrust to mass ratio, which is which we can achieve by doing. Which we can achieve by doing that. We can achieve by doing the coupling. Engine plate. Doing these. Actually, we can achieve by using poodles instead. Now, maybe. Engine choice is always hard. Could go with the single bell poodles. But actually, yeah, this is going to be an upper stage, because it's 6,800 versus we went with a singular skipper, gives us 6,600. Better thrust to mass ratio. Go with 3 poodles. There we go. Let's go with 3 poodles. And then shunt them forward a bit. We don't want to clip the bells. Oh yeah, okay, that is actually going to be... Is that going to be a problem? Don't think so. Oh, what we could do is this. Still, that's protrudes beyond. Oh, let's just go with the skipper. Singular. Now, this is going to have a plausible side problem of it. There. Okay. Actually, look. It's 50. Decisions. Decisions. Yeah, we're essentially running into the problem that the size of the engine bells on the engines I want are slightly too big. Because the Poodle's engine bell is small. The singular Poodle's engine bell is small enough that you can get 2 of them in, but Skipper, 2 of them into a 2.5 meter stack, but Skipper not so much. Let's just go the... What about... What about 2 poodles and some terriers? There we go. Let's go with that. Wait. Quad. Rotate the 45 degrees. Below absolute. Take the 45 degrees. Do that. Move from symmetry. Symmetry. Pull these ones out. Shunt these much closer together so they can actually fit. Then that does not have. Barely not, and then we just grab these and these from symmetry. Then put these in the same stage, and boom! Functional-ish, maybe engines. Although I don't like... This is good, we'll just do more stages. Or just do that. Okay. Just been staring at this for a while. I should move on. We were gonna do the eternal issue of this. We're essentially trying to do a lot with not quite enough engine. Really, ideally, you'd have this for 3.7 major parts, which we haven't quite unlocked yet, I think. Yep, only have these. Okay. Anyway. Going to actually cluster this here. Put a few skippers on the bottom. 2 skipper. Act. A little bit closer to. Then do the wonderful structural tube thing. Where we do a sort of make a better looking boat tail than the default boat tails. I remember from my previous playthroughs, it's one thing which looked really great. That's a bit too much. This one. Oh yes, yes. This. Now, of course, we have the issue that this is not long enough. Or what to do. Okay. So this gives us not great thrust to mass ratio, but we can deal with it. Then we get to side boosters, which we're going to again put skippers on because I like skippers. know, say 4, I think. That's good. And then of these. I might actually not put skippers on. Just put plate on, see what it looks like. What were those things where I thought they looked nice last time? I'll take a look at it later. Anyway, put only T45s on this, and asparagus stage it. What do we get? Okay, we need more substantial side boosters. These instead. Let's try. Poodles on them. Poodles. Skippers on them. Do. Use them. And these. Then that gives us quite enough. Now, this is never actually going to need to have a thrust to mass ratio above Kerbin, so we can put even more fuel there. What's this? Sun. It's fine, okay. Now, asparagus staging this gets us. This is not. Okay. Fire all of them that and that, okay. Then can add more fuel here. Are starting to get diminishing returns though. Okay. And we want separation motors though, because we have a bit of an issue. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Go, and then local to once. Local shot to once. Okay, good separation loaders. Then struts for these. Probably actually from here. Here. Okay. And where was it? Oh yes, no, this. Actually, let's see if this works. There. Ooh. That might not actually be ideal. This. Okay, these need to go here. Okay, 1907 or okay. Hopefully we end up actually do end up using the fuel in those end tanks. Otherwise, I'm going to be a little bit bummed out. Oh. And there. We have the amazing, wonderful, really nice looking tail fin. Nice. This should this should be good. Ooh. Here we do the fairing. Okay. So go up there. Higher than that. Then there. Okay. So this should be good. Now we want to send a very similar thing off to both Minmus and the Moon because we want to get resource mappings of them to use the resource mapper. Also getting high resolution and high resolution image and surface height would be nice. Although for those we probably want a bit more solar power because we're not going to be as near. And because we're in a fairing, we can just do this, and then this. Come on, computer, you can do it. Come on. Think. There we go. And shorten the fairing. Up, 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 up. And we don't need nearly this big of a rocket for this, so now we can go with throwing this away. This all of a sudden has a thrust to mass ratio of 2 actually, which means at this point, let's actually see. 37 versus 4,000. Yeah, we could probably just go with a cluster of terriers. Cool. Yep. Probably triple would be. And that way we don't need very short. Not very short, just medium short. And we don't need that because the engine thing cluster is a decoupler. Then to get to the moon, well, to get to Minmus actually, we'll give it similar delta V's. To get to Minmus, we need 400 plus 30 plus 60. 4,600, I'd say. Which this more than satisfies, actually. Means that these are going to be, which means that, ooh. Problem. We're going to be jetting this fairing pretty low in the atmosphere. This is more than enough fuel to get, more than enough fuel to get to Minmus orbit. So we're going to have to do smaller. Why did I not? This swivel structural. I'm sorry this has just been a bunch of me in the BAB, but that's KSP for you. It's a game primarily about engineering things, so we gotta engineer things. Okay, and then if we angle it a bit, we should get this. Gets us a 0.87 with 2. Actually, though, this is going to be entirely the atmosphere. Engine plates, otherwise we're going to have to do a fairing in order to that to work. Because otherwise it's not going to be particularly aerodynamic. So actually it's going to be in a fairing, so it doesn't matter, but we want actually. Okay. This we can shroud, go structural, strut connector, match up with this. Then this fairing's a bit too big again. Fairing, boop, 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 boop. Okay. Now this thing is going to be absolutely screaming off of the pad. Possibly. Okay. Let's do packed. This is gonna be a very stubby rocket. It's down here. Very stubby rocket. Then aerodynamics. Basic fin, then stick one of the elevons on it. It's a bit big. Just go with this. Actually, no, that's a fairly big fairing. You run into this sort of problem where you have a rocket just the right size that none of the standard aerodynamic control options are really sized very well. Oh well, okay. Then launch struts. Grab this, shunt it down. Shunt it down again. Okay. Let's go. I don't think I'm forgetting anything. Now, I'm slightly worried of what's going to happen when we deploy this in the upper atmosphere, but It's going to be some excitement for us. We use the wonderful power of the 2-orbit autopilots. Now we're going to let's say the moon. Let's say the moon first. So let's say 80-kilometer orbit with 0 inclination. Let's go. Ooh, I forgot. Actually, I forgot to enable auto stage. There we go. Here we see the very pretty plume of the skipper waterfall. My favorite engine. Also like the poodle. But yeah, skipper. It's a nice all-around engine, decently efficient. Fair amount of thrust. Perfect. Let's see what the 2-orbit autopilot does with this, though. Now, we're gonna actually have to figure something to fill this time during the during later streams. That's one of the disadvantages of autopilots. Not quite sure there's actually going to be much to say during this time. I'm sure I'll think up something. So, how's the weather? And it handles the separation fairly well. I mean, we are 48 kilometers up, so the atmosphere is practically non-existent. So it's not that big of an issue. We are technically in atmosphere. I should edit these to actually add a